We are so excited to have you. This webinar is brought to you by Balcon Housing and Stallion Construction Company. They're real estate and construction experts. So karibuni sana. We appreciate you and thank you for being here and making the time. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are so honored to have you this evening and appreciate you taking the time to be with us. We do not take it for granted. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome back to Get It Right with the Tara Solutions. This is season 2. We are so excited. This is where we demystify issues in entrepreneurship and employment. Yes, like I said, this is our second session of 2021, brought to you by Balcon Housing and Stallion Construction Company Limited. This is, we did quite a number of episodes in 2020. So we are excited and looking forward to having wonderful learning sessions. I am Grace Nzula, trainer and HR consultant with the Tara Solutions, an HR consulting and training firm that provides total HR solutions to employers and employees. At Tara Solutions, we help employees who are seeking to improve their performance in their workplaces and those looking for job placements. We assist employers implement HR systems, upskill their human resource, as well as find good talent. So if you're looking for any of the above, kindly get in touch with us on info@tarasolutions.co.ke and we'll be able to sort you out. So Get It Right with the Tara Solutions is a webinar series that seeks to demystify issues in entrepreneurship and employment. I have seen Martin Ocholi here today and he will beat me for rapping. But yeah, in season 1, we did 26 episodes. If you missed any of those, kindly go to our YouTube channel. They're all uploaded there. You can catch up. And this is the second episode of season 2. So you need to catch up. We are on Kijumla, we are on 28th episode. So if you missed any, kindly visit our YouTube channel, which is Get It Right with the Tara Solutions. So the reason why this program was started is because of some very saddening facts. Did you know that 22% of businesses fail in the first year, 30% in the second year, 50% in the 5th year, and 70% in the 10th year? So today we are lucky to have somebody who has surpassed all those years. We are looking for more statistics, and I'm sure he's a man of numbers, so probably we'll get some on where we currently are. And that is why we started this program, so that we change these numbers. We need to have sustainable businesses that start off and don't fail in the first, second, third, or whatever years. So as always, we have giveaways for you, courtesy of Kapula Mintito. Kapula Mintito is a shop based in Mombasa. They have the yummiest of cashew nuts, mabuyu. You know yale mabuyu ya Mombasa? Mabuyu, if you want original custom mabuyus, they are actually available in Nairobi now. Congratulations, Kapula Mintito. They also sell asali, which is honey, original. So if you're looking for proper, good snacks, talk to Kapula Mintito. So for your cashew nuts, for your mabuyus, for your asali, among other things, see their Facebook page, Kapula Mintito, and I'm sure you will enjoy it. I promise that we'll have interesting lineup for you this season. And guess what we're discussing next Tuesday? We are hosting someone from the Kenya Revenue Authority. We are trying to find out, what does the taxman want? You know, squeezy, those in business among us have been receiving emails, so you are reminded to pay your taxes. But what are these taxes they're trying to get out of us? So next Tuesday, join us, same time, same place. Today's session is brought to you courtesy of Balcon Housing, a real estate company incorporated in the year 2001. The company has successfully sold many parcels of land in different parts of the country. They provide both residential, commercial land for investors, individuals, and groups. They also offer property management services, and they have a broad asset expertise complemented by their comprehensive property management services of mid-scale property. So if you're looking for land or someone to manage your property, speak to Balcon Housing. They're also associated with Stallion Construction Company, obviously a company that does construction. I am honored and privileged to introduce to you our speaker of the day. His name, oh my God, did you see how long that name is? Engineer James Mwangi, EBS. I don't know whether you people know what EBS means. It means Elder of the Burning Spear. And FIEK, that is a fellow in the Institute of Engineers of Kenya. I hope I got that right. Bona engineer. Before I start painting you.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Excellent. So Engineer James Mwangi is the CEO of Current Technologies Limited, a consultancy firm that serves East and Central Africa. He is a FIDIC, that is International Federation of Consulting Engineers Board member. He is a registered consulting engineer with the Engineers Board of Kenya, over 35 years experience, working experience. He is a fellow with the Institution of Engineers of Kenya and is a member of Institute of Engineers of Kenya, Professional Review Board Panel for Mechanical Engineers. Hey. He has membership in many professional bodies in Kenya and internationally, and sits on several boards or committees in the energy and petroleum sectors, among others. He is the immediate past chair and member of the Executive Committee of PDIC Africa, that is a group of African Member Association of Consulting Engineers. James is also the chairman of KEPSA, Kenya Private Sector Alliance, Energy and Extractive Sector Board, a director of the Premium Institute of East Africa, member of the East Africa Branch Council of the International Project Finance Association, and is a member of the Energy Institute UK. He is also the chairman of Private Sector Initiative Against Corruption under the umbrella Multisectoral Forum. He is the past chairman of the Association of Consulting Engineers of Kenya. Where? Shall we get there someday? I mean, Nelson, I am looking for your profile. So thank you very much, engineer. And tell us, how do we transition from employment to entrepreneurship?
Thank you very much. And I would like to take this opportunity to welcome those who have managed to join the show to discuss this very important topic in our country. The key thing is that we need to understand what entrepreneurship is and to put it in context. So before I come to the issues of transition, we will just go through a few slides just to make sure that we bring alignment in understanding what is entrepreneurship. What are some of the pertinent issues to do with entrepreneurship? And then we will put it in the context of our country. Grace, next slide, please. Are you able to go to the next slide?
Yes, just 1 second. What's going on?
Talk of technology.
Okay, talk of technology. Okay.
Perhaps as you do that, let me start by defining what is entrepreneurship. And first of all, let's start with what is an entrepreneur? And there you have it now. Simply a person who sets up business or businesses, taking on financial risk in the hope of making profit. So the underlying word is financial risk. In other words, you're venturing into something that is not certain in the hope of making money. And consequently, entrepreneurship then is that activity of setting up that business. Next slide. So what kinds of businesses or what type of entrepreneurship do we have? I think what is most common is small businesses. And then they grow and become larger businesses. And on their journey, you have scalable startups. In other words, a company that is started up that can be scaled up, most likely as funds become available, as the business grows. We have social entrepreneurship. We're in a world of innovation. And then who doesn't know this word, hustler, in our country today? So there's also hustler entrepreneurship. And then there are those in some countries, and I don't want to name them, who make their living copying others. They are imitators. That's their business. People go out there, innovative, create something, and then these guys latch onto it, mass produce and imitate. And then we have seen, especially in the developing world, people going into research and making a living out of it. And then we have what we call buyer and entrepreneurship. And perhaps, Grace, you can go into slideshow so that the participants are able to read. And if we can get to the next slide, please. So this guy you call an entrepreneurship. You know, I don't know whether many of us really understand this person. This guy is normally somebody with ambition. There is something in their belly that fires in them. There's this strong will that they have. And you've got to have these ambitious people full of fire in their belly. Because on their way, things get very tough. And giving up becomes an easy option. But for most entrepreneurs, when the going gets tough, that's when they get going. And then there are these characteristics: willing to learn, listening, being creative. What is it that you can sell? What is it that you can create value out of? And so they are quite creative. They will identify a gap, and in so doing, create a solution that will be bought and will give them value or some returns. They tend to be assertive, and they are confident. They're very persuasive. They don't take no for an answer. They keep coming back, keep trying. They persevere. And then courage, because you must overcome fear. And they take risks. You know, without risks, then you're not an entrepreneur, because you're going into something that is not very well known, is not certain, is not guaranteed. Next slide. And how do they, what is their journey? Normally they identify the business. And in my case, because I was an engineer working for an oil company, the first services that I thought I would make a business out of is the skills I had as an engineer in the petroleum sector. So that is very important. You must decide which business you want to get into. And I remember combing the internet, and on the internet, I remember there were certain criteria. These guys had developed certain tools, and in you answering the questions in those tools, it will tell you whether the business you want to go to is really right for you. So it is very, very important, because you cannot be selling something that you don't have and something that you don't have a strength in. In the event you do that, then of course it becomes harder. You want to determine, they determine if they need an education. Some people go to school, sharpen their skills. The one thing that then you need to do is to plan for that business. And I'll get to that in a short while. Then, who is your target group? Who are you selling to? Who needs your services or your goods? Very important. And then, network. How do you get known? How do you get your message out? What is your sphere of influence in as far as people is concerned? So you need to have established that network. You need to sell the idea, and then you need to market the idea. Next. Then let's come to our country. There was there's what we call micro and small and medium enterprises, MSMEs. And there was a survey done by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, which I'll get to shortly. Because I want us to understand, what does these Jua Kali, these SMEs or SMSMEs mean? So what we call micro, and I want you please to bear these figures that I'm going to give you because they'll come in handy shortly. What we call a micro enterprise is 1 to 9 people. Small, 10 to 20 to 49, so 50 and less than 50. Then we have the larger farms we call medium, which is 150 to 100. So it's important to keep those numbers. One is up to almost 10, the other one is up to 50, the other one is up to 100. Next. So in Kenya, 2019, formal employment, population of 47 million. The people who are formally employed, they have a letter of appointment. They're working in a formal setting, just under 3 million. These are the guys who, to a large extent, obviously pay tax. These are the guys who contribute greatly to this country in as far as the tax revenues are concerned. Out of that almost 3 million, 70% is private sector. So public sector will be about 30%. So just shy of 1 million. Then informal employment, Jua Kali, we have 15 million, according to Kenya National Bureau of Statistics in 2019. So you can see, formal, 3 million, informal, 15 million. So there's a big difference. And then amongst the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, amongst those who are licensed, and I'll come to the statistics of license shortly, 55% of those that are licensed are the micro, 0 to 9 people. So you can start seeing in terms of number, there are very many. Small, 10 to 49, 32%. Medium, the big boys, 12%. Next. So these SMEs, what role do they play in this country? They create jobs, they create wealth, sustain supply chains. So what we can say is that in this country, 90% of all the established businesses, I didn't say licensed, established businesses are micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. Very many, 90%, 7.41 in the 2016 survey. These 90% in terms of numbers employ 84% of the total workforce, about 15 million. So you can see they're very, very big in employment. But in terms of the gross domestic product, GDP, they only contribute less than 30%. I just go back a bit. One slide, please. I think we are there. I just want these statistics to be so that we can see. So they contributed in 2015 1.78 billion compared to the big boys just shy of 6 billion. In terms of those particular SMEs, that 28.5% of GDP. The macro, the two small ones, they contributed 8.9. The small ones, 11.4, and the medium, 7.7. So that makes a total of 28.5. If you go to a country like Germany, 75% of their GDP is the SMEs. In Singapore and the UK, 50%, but in Kenya, less than 30. Next. Yes. Now, these SMEs, the ones that are licensed are 1.5 million. That is 2016. Unlicensed, operating there, Jua Kali, there's a mechanic there, There's somebody with a kiosk there operating informally, about 6 million. So you can see in terms of even the tax bracket, still the pool is very small. Out of those who are licensed, 1.6, 92% is those ones who are 0 to 9. I think you moved quickly. Just go back. So out of those licensed, the two small ones make the most, 92%. The small, which is between 9, 10 and 50, 7.1%. The big ones, 0.7%. So you can see these small ones, very, very big, and you can imagine how much they employ. Then let's talk about gender. Out of those unlicensed ones, the 5.8 million unlicensed, 61% owned by women. Of the licensed one, 32% owned by women, meaning women are concentrated in the unlicensed business. So we need to check and see how do we also uplift the women. Go on, next, please. So what do these micro and small and medium-sized enterprise do? What kind of business? 60% in wholesale and retail. So you can see it's selling a finished product. It's delivering a finished product. That's where the bulk. It is nguo. It is products. Manufacturing, Iwakali and similar, only 12%. Hotels, food, 9%. Agriculture, which is a mainstay of our country, 2%. Then Grace had these shocking statistics. Grace, I'm even going to give you a worse statistic in as far as survival of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises are concerned. From this study of 2016 by Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, 46% don't make it to the first birthday. That's a huge number. 46%. And by the end of 5 years, 80% don't see the fifth birthday. And that's a serious statistic. It means you start off very many, but very many fall on the wayside. And many, unfortunately, many of those that fall are owned by women. And therefore, you can see there's a disparity. And the biggest reason from that survey was capital, money put in that business. Next. So why do people start a business? Some prefer self-employment. For me, I did love self-employment. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to carve my future. I wanted to do what I want. Obviously, better income. Some people go into business because they have no other alternative. You're jobless, you don't have anything to do. So trying to do a business is the best way. Some see adverts. Others see a demand for market. There's a high demand for something, you jump into it. Others have excess cash. There's capital available. Others are advised by others. Others is because the family has a business. Others is because they have a skill in that area. Like I mentioned, I had an engineering skill. And then there are obviously other reasons. Next. Why do they fail? From that survey, lack of money. This issue of funding, managing money is key, is critical. This is the blood of the company. And if that blood is not managed well, if it is being sucked, if you are bleeding, the businesses find it very hard to survive. Next. Okay, there you are. Then sometimes personal reasons. Sometimes customers are too few. Sometimes the raw materials that you need are very few. You can't get them. Maybe the price is not right. Sometimes too many competitors. Sometimes the government comes up with some law, outlaws certain businesses or ventures. Sometimes you have sickness. Sometimes somebody was in Juakali, then he gets a better job, he quits. Others, you are robbed, you lose your merchandise, and then debt. This one is another one that is really crux of the matter. You borrow money, but you have no capacity to pay back. So you bleed, the business bleeds until it has no blood, therefore it dies. Sometimes people start another business. Sometimes you lack manpower. Sometimes the credit bureau rates you very low and you're out. Next. So there's something that I wanted to share because, and it will come applicable. There's a famous writer called Napoleon Hill. He said this, why do many people fail? And the number one reason he said was that people fail because they listen to friends, they listen to family, they listen to neighbors. In other words, they are likely not to be getting the best expert advice. It is not me who has said it. I do know to a certain extent that there is some truth in this. So in other words, careful. They are your friends, relatives, neighbors, you know them, they are in your ecosystem, but they have certain limitations in capacity. Go on, please. So, James Mwangi. I left university 36 years ago, and I was formally employed for 16. Of those 16 years, I worked for 3 employers. Started with government, short period, less than 3 years. Went into manufacturing in a subsidiary of a large organization in this country. I was given baptism of fire there because being a young person and holding a substantive supervisory role, those who I was supervising were older than me, and they made sure that I learned through pain. And then I had a third employer who I worked with for 11 years, 2 of them fortunately out of this country. Very, very useful in terms of learning skills. And that is where the idea of entrepreneurship came in. I saw a window in terms of what was happening in the country, a window of opportunity. And that is what I latched on. So I've been in this business for 20 years. And let me go back a little bit. Your early life, you'll be surprised that your early life is also very important. There are certain things that you did when you are young or you are exposed to that somehow may help you. And for me, it was running my father's shop since I was in Form 1. All my holidays were spent, most of that holiday was spent in that little shop. And that's where you start seeing what business is, or I started seeing that you have goods that you sell and you make something out of it, and it pays school fees. It looks after the family. And what it did is that it also helped somebody to be disciplined. You spend your time in a manner that is productive. But the idea of going into business was triggered 7 years before I went into business. And it was interesting because it was a question of seeing an opportunity and then seeing, okay, what is happening in the industry? It was deregulated, there were more players. And then you're working for an organization that is also saying, we don't need certain departments. I think we can outsource. So the writing is on the wall. And I'll tell you something. Many people, the writing is very big on the wall. Big font, telling you things that change is coming. But you ignore it because you think that change is going to come for others, or it will affect others, not knowing that change could actually come to you. So when I looked at what do I want to do, I knew that the skill I had was engineering, so I went into consultancy. And before I did that, very, very important to prepare, to understand what it is that you need to run a business, to budget for that business, so that when you come out, you see the funds that you have, will they be enough to run with you for 6 months or 1 year? And I could see I had saved enough, and my terminal dues could run me for a year. It could run my family for a year, school fees. I could take medical insurance. And in the process, the loans that I had, I was able to settle some of them, but others not. And therefore, you must be prepared. And one of the things that I did was to do a SWOT analysis. You must do a SWOT analysis on yourself, your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You must stand in front of a mirror and evaluate yourself and see what it is that is you need to drop. What habits, what characters do you need to work yourself out? And then how to run a business, how to structure. This is very, very, very important, because you must be psychologically prepared. If you're not prepared in your mind, then the battle is going to be. The other thing was important to prepare the family. The family has to know that for some time, the revenues coming in are going to drastically. The quality of life is likely to also reduce. And therefore, if you are going to the supermarket, the big upmarket supermarket, with a big trolley that looks like a trailer, now you have to make do with doing shopping with a small little trolley, because you have to manage your funds. So in 2001, I took the plunge. I said, this is it. I hit 40 years. I had said, because of that 7 years plan, the magic number for me was 40. The reason why I thought 40 years was important is that in the event I tried it and it didn't work, then I could dust my feet, go back and try again in employment, unless, but be able to get momentum again. And since that time, I've had no regrets. Next. What are the challenges that you see when you go into business, especially when you come from a good job? One thing that was there is acceptance, your friends. It's interesting, because the initial days I would come into town dressed casually. Previously, we were wearing coats, suits, ties. You come into town, you have too much time in your hands, so you decide to go and see a friend of yours in their office. And right from the time you enter, the askari is the first one to slow you down and want to know why exactly you have come. And you'll have to explain, I'm going to see so and so, blah, blah, blah. And then if you manage to pass the askari, you go to the reception. Again, there you're given a hard time, the way you are dressed. Okay? You manage to pull through. You go to the gentleman's secretary in the event is senior. You're grilled, and sometimes you're actually told the boss is not in, yet you spoke with them a few minutes ago. So I started noticing the respect I used to have was not there. In fact, one of the biggest problems I saw, and why I say acceptance is an issue, is being asked, you're James Mwangi, yes. James Mwangi of where? And now you can't talk about your former employer. So I used to say James Mwangi of Nairobi, and the Askaris think I'm being funny, but it's true. What else could I say? I'm not employed. And then social life reduced, because your money is reduced. Your friends aren't too sure whether you're going to start being a person borrowing money from them. You end up reducing your social life. So that is something like that. So the next one was the need to be frugal. You make sure that money you have, you stretch it until it is like a rabbit. You can buy so much out of an amount that you previously used to use a fraction of it. Then at times, self-doubt. You wonder, did I make the right decision? You have self-doubt. Some relatives will tell you, what is wrong with this? How could you leave this? So you have to keep away from people. And then in the business, slowed payments, cash flow. You meet unethical practices, untrustworthy customers. You work for them, they don't pay you. And of course, corruption, big time. And then I tried also to diversify. I became a contractor. Very tough lesson. Lost a lot of money. I didn't know how to price. The job was looking big. Kumbe the margins were so small. So I lost out, and then not reading carefully what the employer wants. So they stick it into you. The contract says, I plant my fingers. Then, of course, businesses change. There's competition, unfair, fair. I can spend a whole day talking about that. Then the other issue is time, managing time. When you start the business, you are alone there. We used to share an office. So you have to do everything. You are the messenger. You are the everything. You are the one to cook that. You may employ somebody. When the person is not there, you got to do all these small chores. You just have to humble yourself. But I thought it was very good to go back to that stage. Next. But what are the gains? I enjoyed doing that. I decide what to do. I do what I like. I try what I like. I'm not under anybody. I chart my own destiny. If the success comes, it's mine. If the failure comes, it's mine. And I get a lot of satisfaction seeing how my work impacts society, because it's not just a question of money. It's understanding what you do. How does it impact people? Even if you're supplying goods, what are you doing? You're helping people. Then you learn. Every day you learn. The other thing that I've noted is that when you're employed, you're shielded. You don't really know life. Because when we came out of employment, I didn't know how people see things. Simplicity. Cutting corners. Very good understanding of life. Very good understanding of the country, this region, the world, how it works. Because you have to learn these things. And then there was also the other game. We started off in engineering. Actually, we were diversifying our services. We added more services. We ended up going into places that previously we thought we couldn't. So as a businessman, you find yourself, diversifying. And you go into other sectors. You started in petroleum, now you go to other sectors. You expand, you see opportunity. Go on, next, please. Then the other thing is that we were working in Kenya. All of a sudden, we were working in East and Central Africa, all the way down to Botswana. Interesting, you travel, you see things. And then, of course, there's business success, growth. We got some awards, top 100 twice. Recognition. You create a bit of wealth. You have a wide network. And then the other thing, which is a big gain, you can say no to anybody, including your clients. You drop them, they're not working for you. You're free. You're a free bird. You don't feel compelled. And I must say, I love that. You become a role model and you deal with people on your own terms. Nobody should belittle you at all. Next. Lessons, perseverance, hanging on in there, keep moving forward, believe there's light at the end of the tunnel, just continue moving and moving. And then you realize the importance of taking calculated risk, upon a reckless risk. Calculated risk. You don't want to lose too much money. Power of networks. Because you must have a network. Associations, professional association, clubs, workers groups. Then you must get good friends. And please be ready to drop friends that don't add value to you or who take away value from you. And I keep saying this. If you ever find yourself in a group and you are the best, you run. You're in the wrong place. It must be somewhere where you're getting value, where you're learning from others. Then the other good lessons is power of partnership. If you're in business, you must partner with other businesses, other service providers. You can go for bigger jobs. You have built trust, you can get better returns. The other important thing when you're starting business, I found out, was you need mentors. You need people to help you stay the course. People that you can reach out to when you're in doubt, when you're at a crossroads. Very, very important. But these mentors must be people who have done business, who are doing preferably better than you. You can't have your mentor and the guy has no business. He has never done business. That's not a mentor. And if he's doing badly, that is a reverse mentor, meaning that look at, see what they're doing, but make sure you don't do it and keep far. Then there's something that is very, very important: the power of the brand. You, your company, the way people perceive you, the way people feel like they would like to do business with you, the way people feel warm towards you. And sometimes your brand may go bad because something went wrong. But this is something that you should try very hard to maintain: the power of the brand as a person and as a company. Then, value of having systems, efficiency, productivity. Hapana kaa jua kali. Papers are all over the place. You don't know what is this. Angalia file wapi, my friend. Time is of essence here. Learn to be efficient. And then, of course, sound financial management. Don't play with this money. And let me tell you this: do this business and be detached from money to the extent that even when you get your biggest payment, you feel nothing. Because business is cyclic. Today there is money. Tomorrow you are so broke. You wear that suit and move around town, yes. But even those street parking boys are probably financially better than you at that particular time. But you sold your own. You must manage your money. Next, please.
And it's 8:46.
So we need to move. We are almost through now.
Yeah, and then there's some background noise on your end. If you can check on that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's power of advocacy. What that means is power of articulating as a group issues to do with your business sector, whether it is legislation, government policy, advocating for a better business environment. I can spend the whole day, because this is something that I do very, very passionately. If the business environment you're in is not conducive, then of course it impedes the level of success or the rate of success of your business. Power of knowledge, please. Without knowledge, you cannot be differentiated. Power of instinct. Sometimes it's just an instinct. You hear something, and something in your mind tells you that could be an opportunity. Agility, ability to adapt, to change. Integrity, very, very critical, very strong brand. Honesty and doing the right thing, very, very important. Don't get into these things that many people get involved in and think that it is business. Corruption is not business. Next. I will not go into this because we don't have time, but I will highly, highly recommend you read this book, because business success starts with that. So the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This is the book I read many, many years ago before I went into business, while I was still thinking of going into business. Please read it. Next. And then also this gentleman, Jack Canfield, the success principles. What I'm trying to reach out is that it begins with you. If you're not wired for success, if you don't have the discipline for success, if you don't have the vision for success, then success becomes a mirage. You'll be wondering, how come I'm not making it? Read, read, read. Next. So it's coming to, this is the second last slide. At a personal level, one thing I'll request all of you: look after the shell in which your soul lives, and that is your body. Your soul lives in your body. If your body is not healthy, then your soul is restless. The performance is impeded. Your sharpness of mind is also interfered with. I know that there are conditions that you can live with quite well, but I say this: maintain good health, exercise, get enough sleep, eat healthy, medical checkup. Those who are 40 years and above, invest in yourself. How can you take your car for service? How can you change tires on your car, and you can't go for a checkup? Who is more important here? Manage your stress. In Juakali, make sure you have medical insurance, because if sickness comes into the family, it can be highly disruptive. And then me time, your time, recharge, financial planning, investment, wealth creation. When you make that money, plant it, let it grow. You don't plant it in luxuries. You can spend a bit of it making yourself and your family. But remember, if there isn't much of it left, when you cannot work, then there'll be consequences. Very little, but plan your money. There are many instruments of investment. Then towards the end, be efficient. Live an orderly life. Program yourself. Be efficient with your output. Teach your family to live an orderly life. Your diary should be your constant companion. If you can't plan your time, then I don't know. I'll feel unfortunate for you. Plan your time. And the last slide now. Then dream. But in a positive way. Not necessarily becoming the wealthiest person. But dream big things that you can do. Do what you love. Wake up knowing that you're doing what you love. Go to your office. I found out that I worked more days on my work than when I was working home. I put in many more hours. Don't ever think that entrepreneurship is rest. No way. Be patriotic. Love your country. How can you be in an economy that you don't love? How can you be in an economy that you don't think is important for that economy to grow? How are you going to make your money? And then eat. And then remember, life is a service. Money is not everything. Live your life with humility. Even if you make how much money, just be humble. We are human beings like everybody else. Corona has taught us that we are actually all equal. And of course, all of us have a common denominator, which is our exit from this world. Leave a legacy in your business. Don't go through this world unnoticed. And lastly, enjoy the ride of entrepreneurship. Thank you very much, Grace.
Thank you. Thank you very much, James. I am really have enjoyed that. I can see somebody who is relating with me. Our karaoke is saying, James Mwangi of where? I get that a lot. So he's really
Let me answer him. Let me answer him by telling him that it's not the one that lends people a lot of money and owns a big bank.
Yes.
This is a humble engineer serving this country, trying to create employment for fellow Kenyans, trying to create wealth and paying my taxes. That's what I can say. And enjoying myself. Thank you.
Right. I'm really I'm glad that you shared the statistics on how the SME and MSME is doing in this country. And something caught my eye, acceptance and reduced social life, and the need to be frugal and self-doubt. I think this is one of the reasons that makes people fear taking the plunge and just going into entrepreneurship, because we really are comfortable being called head of human resource, Vanessa's Kenya Limited. That was my title. And and the transition was really interesting. And Martin is asking, the biggest challenge I've found as a professional going to business is marketing your business. This is the assumption that people know you are good and therefore they'll come to you. How did you go about this?
Very good. First of all, I like the fact that he's saying he is good. If in your heart you know you are good, you exuberate that goodness. You touch people with goodness. And one of the things you do, prepare to even work for free. Prepare to volunteer. Prepare to be in those business associations. And when you get a chance to talk about yourself, or look for a chance to talk about yourself, blow that trumpet. It is yours, the lungs are yours. Blow it until people can know that you are there. Because to me, when you hide, when you keep quiet, how are people going to know you? Every time I go into a gathering and there's a training or a function, many people sit at the back. Then you're wondering why you are the last ones to get food. Come on. Sit at the front. Go there at that table at the front. Let them remove you. They tell you, oh, unajua hapa. At least you'll have taken a plate of food. But by all means, advertise yourself. Do good work. Remember those networks. Thank you.
Okay, another question from Doris. And let me just remind you that this episode is brought to you by Balcon Housing and Stallion Construction Company Limited. And we obviously have giveaways in the upcoming episode, so stay tuned. Doris Ngogi is asking, is licensing of businesses necessary for business growth?
Why do you have licenses? If you don't have a license, then you are illegal. Simple. You're simply disobeying the law. Yes. And I would argue, initially, you might get away with it. But as you grow bigger, get that license. Pay your tax. Don't let KRA come to you when you have made all that money and they say, oh, all of it is ours now. No. Pay your taxes. Be a good citizen.
Yeah, by the way, we have taxation next week with KRA. So Tara Solutions has partnered with KRA to bring to you lessons on taxation. So stay tuned, Doris. Next Tuesday, we shall be here. Liz Amolo was asking, hi, James. I love your story. Very inspiring to young entrepreneurs like us. Can you share more in the calculated risk in the business, especially in light of COVID-19?
Thank you very much. Firstly, one of the reasons why I agreed, Grace, to come to your webinar is because I was under the impression, and I hope rightly, that I'll be talking to young people. The statistics are showing us that it is through the SMEs that we shall create employment and wealth. And therefore, the young people, you are in very different times. Some disadvantageous, some advantageous. But one of the things I've seen is that it is simple today. It's much simpler to start a business. But the overarching thing about the youth is that they are free in their mind. They are free spirits. They can try things. As we grew up knowing that the only reason we went to school is to be employed. That was the mindset that we had. But the young people, and I have adult children, I can see today they want to try things. They are not afraid to fail. They are not afraid to try. And therefore, I would encourage young people. I know that there are opportunities for what we call incubation. And maybe that will be a topic one day, Grace. We try and see whether we can get some more information on it. Incubation means, how do you get these young people to appreciate? Because the disadvantage the young people have is no capital. But it's not that you need capital in everything. In COVID-19 times, yes, it has been tough. It's been very tough. And we are still not out of the wood. There are no concrete answers. But I would say one thing, that whatever it is that you find, and maybe I forgot to mention this, that passion, entrepreneurship is about passion. So you young guys, the passion that you have for something, do a bit of research. Is that service required? Is that product required? What are the outlets? Today you have very many people that you can discuss, who can mentor you on how to do business. Go to the internet. All I can say is, you must try.
Thank you, Engineer. Roy, thank you for your comment. Roy is saying the president of the youth himself is here in the house.
Oh, very good. Hello, Roy.
So you're speaking to the right people. So there's an important question here before we end from Paul Ngoge, which he's saying, can you be hired as a person business coach, or must you be running a business already? You are authentic and truly inspiring.
Thank you very much. But just say that question again.
So can you be hired? Oh, this is Paul Ngoge. I'm sure you can clarify with me on the side, but can you be hired as a personal business coach, or must somebody be running a business already? I think that's what he means.
I'm actually happy that somebody feels that this presentation or webinar is of value. Right? They say this is straight from the heart, undiluted. And it's one of the reasons that makes me enjoy being in my own business. I have never thought of hiring services as such. But what I can say, maybe through Atara, Grace, if you have enough of these good young Kenyans who will ensure that the future of this country is sustained, I don't have a problem coming back to this webinar and perhaps taking a small topic and we thrash it out. We discuss it to the best of my knowledge and share my experiences. So I haven't considered that service, but I've found out something, Grace, that as you get older, you realize you have other skills that you gain. So maybe Bwana Ngoge, in the not too distant future, maybe after engineering, mentoring is certainly an enjoyable thing. So thank you very much.
Thank you. There's one last, maybe the second last question. Walter had emailed earlier, and I can see he has a question. What's your take in training on young aspiring entrepreneurs, and especially in the engineering world?
First of all, those who are in engineering, because engineering is where I come from. Those ones, you just tell me when you're ready. I will come, I will have a webinar with you. I will go into the details. You know that I have been an advocate for local content. I've been an advocate for local engineers getting opportunities. And I would be more than happy through whatever forum or platform for me to come and share with you. Because I'll tell you this in life. If you have a skill or something good in you, it's of no benefit if you don't share it. So if I have something that can help me share with you, no matter how small, it is my joy. And there's no charge. Because I was where you are. And I would like to see more of us doing better. And then that doesn't just mean that it's only engineers that I will favor. I am more than free. Roy, you have talked. We will look for a forum. But I'm passionate about our young people, because I'm passionate about this country.
I think there's something. Okay. Yeah, just go ahead.
So I'm just saying that nobody's going to bring change in this country other than ourselves. And that's why I'm very happy that you have these webinars so that we can start having these conversations on how we can change. And that's why I brought those statistics. Thanks.
Thank you. I think there's one very, very important question from Vincent, who says, not Vincent, sorry, Oscar, at what point do you determine that your business is not worthwhile and you need to close shop? And I remember you talked about construction, having tried construction and failed and let it go. So how do you know when to let go? Yes.
When the passion dies.
When the passion dies?
When the passion dies, or when you weigh the pros and cons of your business, especially in terms of the following things: knowledge and the skill, and obviously the rate of return. How much money can you make out of it? And you must look at that business in terms of how much do I need to go put inside and how much do I expect? And then the key word is that risk sustainable? But you've got to feel, because he has asked a very important question, because it reaches a time in your business life where you have to say, okay, I have to let go now. And remember, I said that there is the power to say no, even saying no to your business. But of course, don't say no if you have nothing else that you're doing. And I know this sounds like a paradox because I also talked about perseverance. But the passion must be there. One of the things that makes us continue is passion, loving what you do, whether you're making money or not at that particular time. And in the event that after many years of business, it has just sustained you and your family. But if you had an impact on people, if you help transform this country and people, then to me, that is way more than the money would have done. Thank you.
Thank you, engineer. And I'm really, really wondering, please, people, allow me 2 more minutes because I think there's another very good question from Vincent Ogutu saying, kindly comment on increased outsourcing in most enterprises going forward.
Very, very big opportunity for the youth. The business model has changed now. And rather than having capacity in-house or doing it yourself, outsourcing is the world to go. Is the way the world is going. And let me say this, there is going to be even more disruption in businesses, in the business models. Even as in engineering, very soon, we may find that the way we conduct ourselves and the way we charge, because we charge based on what we call time inputs and also percentages of the projects, that is going to change. And when it does, the key thing that I said is agility, ability to change with the times. And I think if you are able to change with the times, then you're good. So outsourcing, that is going to be there. And I'm seeing many more other things coming in that are technologically led that will change our lives.
Excellent. Vincent James, your question, kindly get in touch with me. I think I will be able to direct you on what you're asking. Vincent James, please, I'm sure you have my email address. Kindly find a way to get in touch with me and we'll help you answer the question either with James or hook you up with other experts in terms of starting the business. How do you keep in touch with James? Oh, somebody's asking. Rosemary Wahome. Talk to me. And I think it's 9:08. So my people, this episode is brought to you courtesy of Balcon Housing and Stallion Construction Limited. Today we were actually live on Facebook and YouTube. So in case you have issues logging in and you're stuck or your people are stuck logging in, I believe next time we shall be here and obviously live on Facebook and YouTube. And for those who have joined on that end, asanteni sana. So our people, thank you for staying tuned. James, your
Yes.
last word. Just 2 things to end this.
Thank you very much. Once, I'm very, very happy that you invited me to come to this webinar. And I'm also very happy with the questions that have been asked by the participants today. I actually believe that this country is going to pull through. It's going to grow through the micro and small, medium. The other thing that I can say is this. The opportunity for those already in employment, especially for those who have worked for 10, 15, 20 years, I would plead with them to consider going into self-employment or into entrepreneurship. You leave space for the younger generation. You have acquired experience, 15 years, 20 years. You have a home. You have the basics of life. Why don't you come outside and employ these young people? Why don't you come outside with a bit of planning, take your capital and start a business and become an SME? So please don't hang on too long to employment. Consider coming out and having a productive life in business when you have the capacity to. I think that will be the parting word. And then the younger people, I want to salute you because you have the guts. All I urge you to do business with integrity. And somewhere along the line, remember that this country needs you. Grace, thank you very much. And I want to say good night to everybody. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, James. Be a boy. I can take your question later, and we will try and answer it with James. Maybe as he shares your slide. Everyone who is asking whether you'll get the slides, I believe James is kind enough to share them with us. So
Certainly.
we will be able, if you registered, for sure, we'll send it on email so that you can learn a bit more. So thank you very much. And again, I say this episode is brought to you by Balcon Housing and Stallion Company Limited, as well as Kapula Mintito. So thank you very much. Please check them out online, check their Facebook pages, check their websites, Kapula Mintito, Balcon Housing, and Stallion Construction Limited. Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure having you. We shall see you next Tuesday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. We are discussing taxes with the taxman himself. So have a lovely, lovely night and see you on Tuesday.